Have you received a letter in the mail? Maybe you heard a commercial, a billboard. Maybe you met with a realtor that had a guarantee. What was that guarantee? We will buy your house, or don't worry about the headache and the hassle. We can buy your house with no closing costs, with no realtor fees, with no showings. Why would somebody want to go this route? Ultimately, it's convenient. Now, when you think about convenience, if you go to a convenience store, are you going there because they have the best price or the fact that it is convenient? Hence the name, a convenience store. So when we think about that for real estate, why would somebody want to use one of these options? Simply because it's convenient. But we have to ask, what is the cost of this convenience? When you go buy a snack at the convenience store, maybe you needed something for your vehicle. You know you're paying a little bit extra, but it has a value and you're okay with that. But for your house, how does that work? Well, if we look at the market, let's say you have a home that's $300,000, $400,000, maybe $500,000. You look at the market and maybe you could get asking price, but you see some of the neighbors' homes are sitting. They're not selling. So does that mean you can get that price? Well, maybe not. So there needs to be a little bit of latitude in that number. Well, if I'm going to go to one of these companies that offers to buy my house, what is their end goal? Well, their end goal would be to sell the home and to make some type of a profit for offering this said convenience. So how does that work? Well, if you are uncertain about the market conditions and you don't want to be bothered with all of these unknown items, how's that going to affect their offer? Well, let's think for a moment. At any one of those prices, say between $300,000 to $500,000, a prospective cash buyer is still going to have some closing costs. So let's just say $5,000. Now, when that same buyer turns around and sells it, they're going to have additional closing costs because the house will have changed hands twice. So on the seller side, let's say those closing costs are going to be closer to $20,000 for the sake of round numbers. So that means from the beginning, we have a cost of $25,000 to be able to buy and then sell the home. Now, are they doing this for free? Are they doing this just out of the goodness of their heart? No, they're not. They want to make a profit. So let's say their goal is 10%. So if we take a $300,000 house, $30,000, $400,000 house, $40,000, $500,000 house, $50,000. That's going to be another real cost that's involved in this convenience. Now, what about the market condition? If you're a little concerned about the market condition, so are these people. They know that. So are they going to offer absolute top dollar? Well, no, because then the margins become too thin. Then they're going to do an inspection. And when they do this inspection, they're going to go through everything that could come up on the home. They're going to look at the age of the AC system, the age of the appliances, the age of the water heater, the age of the roof, maybe the flooring, maybe the cosmetics. They're looking for anything that may come up on the property. And even though they're not going to do a single repair, when they go to sell it, those same items may come up. So what do? Oh, well, we're going to have to deduct for that too. So they're going to give a conservative life. Let's say the AC is maybe 10 years, maybe only 5 for the appliances. Everything's going to be conservative. So now, well, I'm going to have to deduct for this. I'm going to have to deduct for that. So maybe we're going to make an extra $15,000 in what ifs. Well, how do all these numbers come together? Well, let's go with that $400,000 house. So we have $25,000 in fixed closing costs for the purchase and the sale of the home. Then we have a 10% profit margin, which is $40,000. So we're at $65,000. Well, then if I'm taking out, say, another $10,000, well, that just put me to $75,000. And remember, the market's a little slow at the moment. So maybe instead of offering $400,000, I'm only going to offer $375,000. Oh, but wait, I had that other $75,000 that I had to deduct. So now my offer is $300,000. What's the cost of convenience? In this example, it's close to $100,000. Now, as the price of a home goes up or goes down, these numbers do vary. These numbers were round estimates just to put some real numbers in play. But when we talk about your home specifically, whether it's $75,000, whether it's $125,000, is that cost worth the convenience of no showings, no realtor involvements, being able to close whenever you want? Does that have a value? Well, to some, maybe it does. But to most people, that is a lot of money. And as the market has some uncertainties, have you considered renting your property? Well, why would we do that? I bought this home so that I could live in it. I never wanted to have a rental property. Well, if we look at the market on rental properties, there is always a demand for tenants, for good quality homes. Not everybody wants to live in an apartment. They like to have a house, a townhome, or even a condo that is still different than an apartment. What about the cost? Some people bought their home years ago and do have plenty of equity. Some people maybe only recently bought their home, but they have a fantastic interest rate. So whether you're able to see a monthly cash flow, or maybe you're looking at long-term appreciation, how long would it take for you to lose $100,000 if you rented your home out? Even with the cost of maintenance, the cost of repairs, updates, upgrades, it would take a really long time to lose that kind of money. Let's say you lost $500 a month between maintenance, repairs, and other items. Well, that's $6,000 a year. In 10 years, that's $60,000, which means realistically to even get close to 100, you're talking a 15 to 18 year timeline before you would ever get close to $100,000. Now, what's going to happen in this time? Well, ultimately, you're going to pay down your principal. And guess who paid most of it? The people who are occupying the property, paying rent, keeping the home in good condition. They were paying the majority of your mortgage. So even 15 years down the road, would you have actually lost $100,000? Now, what happens when the property gets paid off? Maybe you refinance at a certain point and go to a 15-year mortgage. Maybe you leave your current mortgage because you're already 10 years into it. Where would you be in 10 or 15 years on the total balance of your mortgage? As you're considering options in a changing marketplace, I consider you to give me a call. Let's talk about your property. Let's talk about the concerns you may have. Let's talk about some real numbers to see whether it is good to take advantage of convenience, whether it may be good to look at the general market, or maybe renting your home could be a nice investment that you have not considered. So I invite you to give me a call, send me a message. Let's talk about your property.